Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a full face of dupes, or what could be dupes, and it's drugstore versus high-end. I'm not going to tell you which side's which, maybe y'all can guess right now, but I'm really loving all the products I've used. I don't think there's any duds in there right now. Everything really worked flawlessly together. So whether you are addicted to high end and you want to see how these products perform, or you are a baller on a budget and you want something cheaper and you need to watch what you're spending, especially right now, I've got some awesome options for you. But thanks for tuning in, and remember to subscribe because I do have that giveaway coming up with a whole bunch of skincare and makeup, big box full, definitely worth it. So share my video with your friends, get them to subscribe as well. The sooner we hit 100, the sooner I can do that giveaway. So here we go. So for a dupes video, I figured why not start at the very beginning. I've got two different sponges here. This is the original Beauty Blender. Well, this is not the original color, but brand new, never been used. And this is a brand new Pawpaw beauty sponge from Shop Miss A. So I will be using drugstore on this side, high-end on this side, and let's get started. Okay, so for primers, y'all probably already know I'm going to go in with the Tatcha for the high-end. And I absolutely love this primer. I've used quite a bit of it. I'm almost out. It's almost time for a new one. Unless, you know, this dupe really does work well, then maybe I'll just stick with the dupe. I probably got too much. So with the Tatcha primer, I have learned that less is more. You definitely don't want to overdo it and cover. It does start to pill and kind of ball up. A little goes a very long way. For the drugstore side, I'm going with the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. And there are several dupes for the Tatcha one, but this one I've seen, or in my experience, has been the best and the closest to the feeling. This one's a little bit thinner of a consistency, I feel like. It's not quite as thick. Dig in there and get some. But I feel like because it's a little bit lighter of a formula, it doesn't pill up like the Tatcha one does. The dry down's about the same. Oh my gosh. So there's that. So next for foundation, this is, I'm not for sure it's going to be an exact dupe, but when I found this drugstore one, the foundation it immediately made me think of was the Smashbox 24-hour wear hydrating foundation. And this is actually a brand new bottle. So if y'all just saw my haul video, you'll see that I just got this one in. It has been a favorite forever. So I'm gonna go ahead and go in with that one. In this, I use the shade 1.1. Taking my Beauty Blender. Now, I wouldn't say this foundation is a full coverage. It's definitely a medium to buildable coverage. It has a really nice demi matte finish that I really do love. Okay, and so for the other side, this is a new gem that I just started using. It is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-hour fresh wear foundation. This one actually has an SPF of 25 in it. I don't know if the Smashbox one has SPF in it. However, I still do love it, so there we go. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out the lighting in here, and I have my window open and it kind of keeps getting dark when there's a cloud. And this is in the color 420. And I'm going to go in with my Pawpaw sponge. Okay, so as you can see, they have a very, very similar finish. In fact, the colors are almost identical. This side might be a little bit more dark, but I love them both, and I will definitely be doing a wear test, and I'll be checking in with y'all later. But this is what it looks like so far, and I don't mind. It's pretty similar, so it works. Now for concealer, I didn't find a shade dupe, but as far as formula, these two seem to be very, very similar. So with the high end, it's the Jeffree Star Magic Concealer, and I have the shade C12 in that. And then the one that I found that seems to be very similar in consistency is the Stay Assurance Water Sealed Zero Smudge Concealer. Now, because this one's a zero smudge and it's a water sealed one, it might perform a little bit differently, but we'll just see. So hopefully the shades aren't too off. When I swatched them, the Stay Assurance one was a little dark, but maybe once blended out it won't be so bad. Now for the drugstore side. Once they're on, there's not a huge difference in the color. I think I need a little more Jeffree Star on this side. I got a little bit of color from being outside this weekend, so this cheek's a little more pinky. There you have it. Not bad. I'd say very, very similar in consistency and finish. So this side might be a little bit brighter because of the color, but I'm gonna say if I went lighter with this one, I think it'd be a spot on, at least at first, dupe. So I think I need to do a wear test with them both and see kind of at the end of the day how they wear. Now for a brightening powder, I don't really have anything new. So this is the only thing I didn't even think of to get a dupe for. Probably should have. But it is the Essence Brighten Up. I love using this under my under eyes, so let me just go in with that real quick and set the under eyes. Okay, so now that that's set, I do have two powders. Now these are perfecting powders, so I've actually had the drugstore one for a little while now, and I've mentioned it in several videos. It is the Flower Beauty Perfecting Powder, the Light Illusion Perfecting Powder, and this is in Porcelain L1. And then the high end that it is a dupe for is the Charlotte Tilbury, and this is the Airbrush Flawless Finish, and I have it in Fair. So the colors are a little bit different. Actually, on camera they look a lot similar, but I am going to be using, I'm trying to find a clean, big, fluffy brush for this. Okay, go. I'm going to go in on this side first. And honestly, I've never used this one before. That looks really nice and soft. That really smoothed everything out. And this is actually my first time using this, and now I see what the hype's about, because this is beautiful. For the drugstore side, I'm just going in with another big fluffy brush. So initial first thoughts on that, both are very smoothing. Up close, yeah, they're very, very similar. There's not really much of a difference. We will just see how they wear. So next, I'm going to go in with bronzer, and my high-end one is the Omega Bronze Coconut Perfect Tan Bronzer from Marc Jacob. And I have mine in the 104 Tantastic. I'm going to go in with my Luxie Wonder Woman brush. I love this brush so much for bronzer. For the drugstore side, I have the Milani, and this is the Silky Matte Bronzing Powder in shade 2 Sunkissed. And you can see I've made a significant dip in there. I'm just gonna go in with my Morphe R14. If I ever run out of that Omega bronzer, I'm just gonna buy this one because it's so good. Hopefully it never gets discontinued because I love it. And it's like $12 compared to like, what is it, 48 or something? I mean, it blends just as nicely. So for blush, I have my Buxom Wanderlust Primer Infused Blush. And this is in the shade Dolly. So, so pretty. And I'm just gonna go in with my Morphe E4 brush. Such a pretty blush, love it. And the dupe, which this is a shade dupe. I don't know if it's gonna be the same, but this is the e.l.f. primer. I think it's still called the Primer Infused. This is the shade, and this is in the something Always Rosy shade. So I'm going in with Morphe X Jaclyn Hill JH06, which is also a blush brush from Morphe. Very close in color. You can see it's kind of that peachy rose color. However, this side has like a sheen to it. This side is more shimmery and like, it's just got a soft satin finish, where this one is completely matte, which I don't mind. But the shade's similar. They both have great pigment and go on so nicely. So I think if, you know, depending on whether you like the shimmery finish or if you like the matte finish, that's what's going to be the determining factor. So for highlight on the high end side, I'm going in with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Amrezy highlight. There we go. I'm just using a Morphe Y14. I don't even know if they make this brush anymore, but I still have it. Love that kind of like golden tone. Brow a little bit. Do my little C here. Just a little on the forehead. And the Cupid's bow. The chin, and just halfway on the nose. The nose is the tricky part. Trying to do half and half is easier said than done, my friends. And so for this side, I actually found that the new Hello Halo blush lighter from Wet n Wild in the shade After Sex Glow, this one is very similar. I'll show you side by side. They may not look, well, they've kind of got that golden tone to them. You can see that Amrezy highlighter has a little more dimension. But, I mean, holy halo, look at that. I'm using a Morphe R36 brush for this. They both have an amazing glow factor here. Okay, so, yay! Now, eyebrows. I'm going to start out with pencils. So the closest thing I could find, I have the Precisely My Brow Pencil by Benefit, which I adore. And this is in the shade 4. And then the one that I found is really similar is the LA Girl Shady Slim Brow Pencil. It's a little beat up. Here we go. And this is in the shade Brunette. So both have like that really fine tip applicator. Both of them have the really fine tip, which is awesome. I love that. One thing I love about the Precisely My Brow is it's not waxy. It goes on really easy. You get a lot of pigment. it's really easy to work with. So if you're kind of new to makeup, this is a great pencil. And you can really find them on sale a lot, which is awesome, which is why I have it. But so on the other side, I'm gonna go in with the Shady Slim. This one also has a little spoolie and a very, very fine tip. As far as drugstore eyebrow pencils and eyebrow products go, this is one of my all-time favorites. I actually have two different shades for when my hair's darker and when my hair's natural. I have an almost black brown that I use when my hair is like black brown. I would say this one's a little bit creamier of a consistency, so it's kind of just whoosh on there, so don't go in heavy-handed because you will get a lot of pigment. I wouldn't say it's waxy though, just creamy. So as far as color, it looks like this one's a little teensy tiny darker. So for brow gel, I've got another Benefit product. This is the Gimme Brow. You can see that. There we go. And I have it in shade 4.5. We'll go in on this side. I love that this is kind of a brow filling, but also like really good setting gel. It holds my brows in place really, really well. So that's super great. And then for the drugstore side, I have the Essence Make Me Brow. And this is in the shade number 2, Brownie Brows. There we go. This applicator is just a little bit bigger than the one from Benefit. This one also does a really good job of keeping brows in place, and this one's like $3 or $4. One thing I love about Ulta and the drugstore is there's always like coupons and stuff to be had, so you can really get a good deal on all kinds of awesome products. Yeah, there's the brows. Ta-da! All right, guys, so for the eyeshadow, I have two palettes. And this is the ABH Sultry palette, which is one of my favorites, so stunning. And then I found a dupe on Amazon, and this is the C Color Feverish palette. So they both have that gorgeous, like, glittery coloring to them. And really, the pan size is almost identical. The only difference is, whoop, sorry, I'm falling around here. Take that off. The pan size is identical. The only difference is the ABH has a brush and the C Color does not. You can see all the colors are very similar. I'll be definitely posting a swatch in here so you can see them, but these blacks are a little bit different. This is just first initial thoughts, and then the silver is a little bit richer right here in the ABH palette, but everything looks really similar, and just because it looks different in the pan doesn't mean they won't come off on the eye the same way. I'm going to start off on the ABH palette. I'm going to use the color Fresh. I'm going to be using clean brushes for each side, so. And then in the Feverish palette, I'm going to go in with their version of Fresh. And I'm going in with the Morphe Y16. Now y'all have seen me use a C Color palette before when I did a Natasha Denona dupe. So off the bat, both of those look the same. Really not seeing a difference. I'm going to go in with the color Twig from Anastasia Beverly Hills. Just gonna put that in the crease. Again, ABH is on this side, C Color's on this side. And on the other side, going in with the equivalent. It doesn't have names on this one, so. Okay, so with this one, there's not quite as much pigment right off the bat. However, definitely builds up nicely and it's easy to get that tone. You just have to work a little bit more, which I never minded. They blend really nicely. Next, I think I want to take that color Dystopian, and on the same brush, which for the high end side it's G17, just kind of work that into the lower part of the crease and deepen it up a little bit. Don't want to go too far in, and just kind of keep it concentrated to that outer corner. Kind of get a really nice little smoky eye going on. And on the other side with the Morphe Y16, going into their equivalent of the dark brown. Again, just building that up in the outer crease. And this one's definitely more pigmented than their version of Twig. I'd have to say this is a little bit warmer of a brown. It's not as cool toned as the Dystopian color. You can kind of see it's a little bit warmer. I'm dipping into the slate color in the sea color one to kind of give it a little more coolness. And that definitely is helping bring that tone in that I needed. Kind of cooling it off a little bit. That's a lot better. So I don't think I'm gonna go any darker. I'm kind of keeping it lighter today for the look. Now for the ABH palette, I want to go in, really want to compare that coral color. So I'm gonna go in with the actual brush that came with it, which I've never used. I'm going into Bloom. I'm just gonna pack that in there. Gosh, it's so pretty. I don't think I've used that color yet in this palette. It's really pretty, really bright. For the other side, I'm using an Aveda 2 brush, dipping into the same color in the Sea Color palette. I'm just packing it in there. Now again, it doesn't come off as bright right away, but these colors are very similar in tone, and when you build it up, it does build up nicely on the eye as well. So you just layer if you want that really bright coloring in there. Not a huge difference, which is awesome. Both have fallout. The Sea Color a little bit more than the ABH, but still. And now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to take the color Slate and just kind of blend that crease a little bit in the outer corner. Bring in a little more coolness. And go back and do it the same way on the Sea Color side. Super pretty, super similar looks. Okay, so now for the inner corner, I want to go in with the Cyborg color. I'm just going to take my finger and tap that in, kind of blend it into the eye. Oh, it's so pretty. I'm gonna wipe my finger off so I can use the same finger. all clean. This is the one I used for the other side. And I'm gonna go into the sea color version. It feels super buttery. It's a really pretty silver. It doesn't have the same shift as Cyborg does, but I mean, it's very, very close. You're gonna get a very, very similar look. Actually, I think I want to go into rose quartz here. And I want to pull that in a little more onto the peach color. Kind of blend that in. Ooh, I like that. Again, I'm cleaning my finger off so I can do the same thing. And there's version of rose quartz isn't quite as glittery. I think that's what it is. They're more metallic than glittery. They don't have as much oomph. It's still very pretty, very blendable. So now for under the eyes, I'm going to go in with that bloom color. And deepen it up just a little bit with dystopian on that very outer edge. And do the same with the sea color. That slate in there too to cool it down. Okay, and that is it for the eyeshadow look. I'm gonna zoom you in so you can kind of see you can obviously tell on this side how much brighter those shimmers are. So you get a very similar look, and I mean $12 compared to, what is it, 42? Not bad. Sometimes you can get the sultry one on sale, but if you're not a big shimmer person but you love those colors, I definitely say go with the sea color. It doesn't take much to build it up where you need it to, and you get that gorgeous like kind of pop of color. Definitely worth it. So I don't have any eyeliner that I have a dupe for, so I'm just gonna go in with my favorite, which is the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil. And this is in the shade Whiskey. I just like to pop that on the waterline. Kind of give my eyes a little more definition. For mascara, so I'm not sure if these are dupes, but the brushes look very similar. So on the high end side, I'm going in with my Tarte Maneater, one of my all-time favorites. And I love this brush. I love that silicone brush more than the regular traditional brush. I feel like this really lifts and separates everything. Let's just hope I don't stab myself. And then for the drugstore side, I've got the Essence You Better Work mascara. It's the Length Definition mascara. It's gym proof and waterproof. And again, it kind of has that silicone brush. You know, online it looked really similar. In person, it's a little bit different. Well, so far it is separating and lengthening the way I like. And it's very, very similar. So I'm gonna go in with a second shade on both sides. Y'all know I love the Essence Lash Princess mascara as well, but I saw this one, it's what made me think of that Maneater one. I'm not usually a huge fan of waterproof, but we'll see how this does. So I'm just gonna scoot in closer. I'll zoom y'all in. So this side is Tarte, this side is Essence. You can see they're both very like lengthening and separating, which I love. Scoot you out again. And I mean, as of right now, I'd say it's a pretty successful dupe. I like that. All right, so for lip liner, I have the Pat McGrath Labs Permagel liner, and this is in the color Done Undone. And then for the drugstore, I've got ColourPop Lippy Pencil in the shade BFF. So I will swatch that for you. So here is Done Undone. Here is BFF. As you can see, they're very, very similar. So we'll see how these perform. I've never used the lippy pencils from ColourPop before. But my Pat McGrath Labs is one of my favorites. So that's the Pat McGrath on this side. So Pat McGrath is super creamy. The lippy, the ColourPop is a little bit creamier. It's kind of more slick. Very, very similar in shade. This one's maybe a little bit more peachy. But we will just have to see how they perform throughout the day to really get a good idea. I know after my lipstick wears off, I still have the Pat McGrath liner on all the time. Okay, so that is that. Now for lipsticks, I have a couple different ones. So for the drugstore, I have the Morphe. Let's see. And these are the closest I could find to dupes. The color is pretty similar. This is the Virgin liquid lipstick. I'm not sure what they call their liquid lipsticks, but I'll go ahead and swatch it. It's this kind of like pinky, peachy nude right here. There we go. And then one I found that was really close was the Huda Beauty Liquid Matte. And this is in the shade Sugar Mama. I'll go ahead and swatch. Now formula wise, this one's a little bit thinner. This is the Huda Beauty. That's the Morphe, but they're very similar in color. And then the other one that's really, really similar is the Dose of Colors. And this is in the color My Main, which I got at Ulta not too long ago, so I don't know if it's still available or not. I would actually say that consistency-wise, Dose of Colors and Huda Beauty are very similar. They're kind of thinner. The Morphe is a little bit thicker, but that is the Dose of Colors one. So as you can see, these two are actually closer to each other. I couldn't find an exact dupe, but they're very similar. I think I'm gonna go in with Huda though, and kind of show you these two. I think this one's got a little more pink to it. So we'll put Huda on this side. And now I'm going in with the Morphe on this side. So on the lips, they're very similar. Morphe is a little bit lighter and more nude, where this one's a little more peachy toned, but still very, very close in comparison. And on the lips, they both feel very similar. They're not sticky, they're drying pretty quick, and they both feel very thin. They don't feel heavy. I know I said the Morphe was a little bit thicker swatched, but once it's on your lips, it doesn't feel that thick. Now, I don't have a setting spray to share with y'all, so I'm just going in with my Gerard Cosmetics Slay All Day. I know there's like a million that can be dupes for different ones, but this is my all-time favorite setting spray. So, well, this one and the Skindinavia one, but I don't know where my Skindinavia one is. Put it somewhere and forgot. Okay, y'all, so this is the finished look. Both sides, to me, look very stunning. So this side, again, this is the high end, which everything's like really melted into the skin. I love that. I like how the highlighter kind of fades into the blush. I don't have anything breaking up. My under eye looks good. My little forehead creases look good. My brows look good. Lashes look good. And then this is the drugstore side. Also really pretty. I almost like this highlighter better, not gonna lie. The only real difference is the dewiness of the blush on this side, which, I mean, if you just want to lightly go in with highlighter and blend that in, you can kind of get that same effect, but looking at it right here, it doesn't seem to be that big a difference. So really it just comes down to personal preference, whether you prefer a matte finish or a satin finish. And then with the lips, I mean, it's just barely a shade different. And this one both look very, very similar. The eyeshadows are really looking close to the same. Really the biggest difference is those shimmers, and like the mattes you do have to build up a little bit more, but still, if you're a baller on a budget and you want that palette, I would say go for the C-Color one. You're gonna get the same kind of looks, the same kind of gorgeous pop of color with those nice warm and cool tone neutrals. You get a lot of options, which is great. And really it's just the shimmers you kind of have to build up, but they look stunning anyways. I bet if I got them wet, I would have been able to get more of a payoff. These ones are a little bit more glittery, I would say. I'm loving this mascara. It's almost an exact dupe for the other one. The brows look good. There's not really much to complain on those. So the bronzer, I've already told you I've used those both several times, so I knew those were going to be dupes. Foundation looks stunning. It's seamless. I can't tell the difference between one side or the other. The only difference with the concealer, this side's just a little bit darker. This one's way more bright, and that's just because of the shade. But other than that, really, they both look the same on the skin. I'd almost say this is a little more hydrating than this one was. This one's a little more matte. The Jeffree Star one was. They still come off beautiful. You can't really tell. So yeah, I'd say that was a successful dupes video. So I will check in. Okay guys, so it is, let's see, 3:55. I finished my video at about 1 o'clock. And right now, I've been sitting outside since like almost right after I finished. The makeup's still looking really good. I don't see, you can see my dog, Gatsby. Come here, baby. There he is, sweet boy. He got me muddy. So this is the side that is drugstore. Whoop. This is the side that is high end. As you can see, everything's still hanging in. In this natural lighting, you can see how this side's not quite as glittery as this side. However, the pink has kind of worn off a little bit more on this side than it did this side, which is kind of shocking. So, foundation still looks really, really nice. Lips are still hanging in there. You can see how this one's lighter and this one's darker, but everything's hanging in there. Anyways, we'll see you in a couple more hours. Hey guys, so another check-in. There's my husband and my daughter.
Hi.
I am on a walk right now with my family.
Yeah.
But it has been about 7 hours since I first did my makeup and about 4 hours since my last check-in. Don't mind them. However, my makeup still looks awesome. Both sides, I would say, are holding on tight still. So all in all, I'd say everything was pretty much duped. The only difference again was that the concealer on the drugstore side was a little darker than the concealer on the high-end side, but it still wound up looking good. Lipstick has stayed, lip liner has stayed. I'm pretty pleasantly surprised. So I hope y'all have a good night, and I will send you back to past me to close out the video. Bye. Y'all gonna say goodbye?
Bye.
So thanks for tuning in. I'm so glad y'all decided to sit here with me today and play with some new makeup and some new dupes. Hopefully y'all can save some money by this video and not have to be like me and spend a whole bunch just to get to this point. But I have y'all's backs, and I hope y'all enjoy watching. As always, if you like this video, please subscribe and ring the little bell for when I post a new video. And I will see y'all next time.